Hey everybody, welcome to another mini lesson. This week I'm going to talk to you about Thanksgiving. So if you know anything about Thanksgiving, you know that it's not this week, it's coming up in about 2 weeks, about 10 days actually. But I want to give you a little history and then explain to you some of the things that you might be seeing already ahead of Thanksgiving, what you might see maybe at work or your child's school, and even just in your neighborhood and community. So let's get started. Thanksgiving is a national holiday in the US. So when it is a nationwide holiday, that means that the government does look at it or does consider it a holiday for everybody. And that basically means schools and banks and government buildings will be closed. You'll often then see it named on a calendar as a holiday. So yeah, it is considered a national holiday. It is now at this point on the fourth Thursday of every November. Try to say that fast. Fourth Thursday of every November. So this year, the fourth Thursday is November 24th. So let's see here. When did it start? Well, it started way back in 1620. There is a lot of differing opinions, a lot of different information that you will find if you look for info on Thanksgiving. There's even a lot of controversy about it. So in an effort to not bring possible problems or controversy into this lesson, I went for the very basic information, basic information about what we think happened, about what is that, 400 years ago, what we think happened, but mostly what we know happened. So I'm going to give you that brief history and then mostly talk about what happens now in the United States and what you'll see in your communities. So way back in 1620, a group of colonists or settlers, or what became known as the Pilgrims, they left on a ship. It was 102 people. They left a place in England and came over to what was called the New Land out west, which is now part of the United States. But at the time, it was just new land for new opportunities. We're getting out of England. We're going to go to a new place. So they traveled for about 66 days and then landed in Massachusetts. So this group first, when they first got here, or got to Massachusetts, I should say, it was the fall and winter, so it was cold. They stayed on their ship for the most part in the first couple of months, and only about half of those people survived the winter. So think, they were probably running out of food. They had no heat. I don't know if where they came from in England would have been cold or not, probably, but they had homes and they probably had ways to heat their homes. They had none of that on this ship. So when spring rolled around March, let's say, they started to move onto land and started to live on the land instead of living on the ship. Well, when they got on to the land, the historians will tell you that they met a group of Native Americans. These people were already here. This was not new land for them. They had already been here. They were there first, honestly. So they greeted these new settlers, and the story goes that they helped them to plant seeds, learn how to harvest the land, learn how to hunt, learn how to stay away from things that were poisonous or berries that they could eat versus plants that would harm them and make them sick or even be fatal and kill them if they ate them. So they helped them really learn the lay of the land. I'm assuming they helped them learn the seasons, maybe how to use hide from animals to make things like blankets and clothing and all those kinds of things that they wouldn't have done when they were in England. So Thanksgiving now comes from the belief that when this group of new colonists, so let's say there were about if it's half their group, maybe there were 50 people left, 40 or 50 people left from the original group that sailed over. After that first year, when they had their very first harvest, their first harvest of, say, corn and grain, and maybe their first year of hunting, and their first year that they survived in whatever they were living in, their first year of harvest, they celebrated with a feast with their friends, the Native Americans, the people who were already there, who had helped them develop the land and get settled and start to learn a new way of life in this new place, somewhat on their own. So the first Thanksgiving, that is named as the first Thanksgiving. There's really nothing in my research that tells me that these people called it Thanksgiving, or that even the things that we eat and that we do for Thanksgiving now that they actually did. I'm sure, like in a lot of countries, the traditions and what's done changes over the years. It changes with technology, it changes with time, it changes with new generations. So there is a lot of history or information, facts that would say we don't know for sure. We don't know if they ate these same things. We don't know if they called this Thanksgiving. But this is said to be the first Thanksgiving in the United States that then has developed and carried out into what it is now. So a couple hundred years, 250 years or so later, after this had been celebrated year after year after year, or every few years, it was President Abraham Lincoln who declared Thanksgiving a national holiday and named it to be the fourth Thursday in November each year. Today, a little different. In my opinion, in the United States, we carry some of the original, what would have been the original Thanksgiving. We carry some of that, and we also have changed it. So we have carried forward the gratitude and thankfulness and being mindful and thinking about that. But some of the other things that we've brought in, there isn't really much history to say that this is what happened back in, say 1621. We do things like the traditional meal is turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, which is usually like celery and breadcrumbs, and you either make it as a dish or you actually can stuff it inside the turkey and bake it that way or roast it that way. Cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, green beans, other types of potatoes, sweet potatoes. But again, I say that that's the traditional meal. That's what you will see if you start looking online. What is the Thanksgiving meal? Or when you see pictures, or when you see art, or even when you buy paper plates, for Thanksgiving, that's what's going to be on them. But not every family will celebrate with that. My family does. I'm from the Midwest, Chicago area. That's what we do. We actually do turkey and ham. My husband's family, which is from Florida and parts of Virginia, they typically do seafood, which I don't know. Honestly, the original colonists who came from England to the United States and settled in Massachusetts, they would have been near water. They may have celebrated and done part of their feast, and their celebration of harvest could have included seafood. We don't know. But anyway, just some things are different depending on where your family is or where people are celebrating in the United States. Another big thing you will see for Thanksgiving now that probably was not happening back in 1620 is you will see Thanksgiving Day parades, smaller ones in communities, but also one very, very large one that happens in New York. It's called the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and it happens every year. People go and stand along the sidewalks, along the roads in person, and it's also televised. You will see giant floats, which a float is like a display on wheels. I've seen some that have like castles on them, and I've seen some that have a Christmas theme or a Thanksgiving theme, or it's a scene from a movie. You'll have singers and bands and performers and celebrities even sometimes on these floats. You will also see giant balloons, like humongous, to where several people, if not 10, 20 people, have to be on the ground holding them by strings so they don't blow away. Yeah, so it's a really big deal. This is a parade that is worked on all year to get ready for the next year. And it's pretty fascinating. I have never been there in person, but I definitely have watched it a little bit here and there each year on TV. So that's most of what I have to share with you about Thanksgiving. Although I am interested, at the end of the video, I'll ask you a few questions about that. But one additional thing I do want to share real quick about Thanksgiving is that the day after Thanksgiving is called Black Friday. And it has been called that for a number of years, lots of years. It has been called that historically. The idea is that for retailers, so stores and businesses, to end the year with profit. If they end the year with profit, that means that their numbers, their dollars, are in the black. If they end it not in profit, meaning did not make money that year, then typically accounting or in bookkeeping, you would say they are in the red. So the idea of Black Friday is to financially boost sales for a retailer or some small business, so that they are in the black and they have a profit at the end of the year. So you will see, you've already seen, I mean, it started in October, honestly. You will see ads, you'll see magazines, commercials, everything about Black Friday sale, Black Friday deal. It's Black Friday already. We're doing Black Friday early. The actual day that at least used to be Black Friday is the day right after Thanksgiving. But you'll even see some things where, or some retailers that will have their stores open Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving night, to offer those sales. So typically though, I would say sales and things like that start in November, but it's also to signify that the day after Thanksgiving, it's Christmas season. So we'll talk about that in another video, but that's what all the Black Friday holiday shopping is for, is to get ready for Christmas and gift shopping. So, like I said, I had some questions. I want to know, do you have Thanksgiving or something like our Thanksgiving in your country? If you do, when is it? If you don't, what do you think about it in the United States? And second question, what do you think about Black Friday and how Black Friday is tied really, really closely to Thanksgiving? Let me know what you think about that too. Hope you enjoyed the video.